Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a un episodio más de Marketing Hack Show on the road. Estamos en Dubai y estoy muy contenta de presentar a mi siguiente invitada. Este episodio va a ser en inglés. Curiosamente, nunca hemos hablado en inglés, siempre ha sido en portugués y un portuñol. Entonces, este episodio va a ser en inglés, so now I'm going to change to English. And I want to introduce Ana Paula Poppi. Ana, ¿cómo estás? I want to say everything in 3 languages, but we're going to speak in English. How are you? Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. I'm great. I'm great. I'm very grateful to be here. Very, very happy to share a little bit about my journey. And yeah, just thank you for having me here.
Thank you. So we met a couple of months ago. I think it was last year in Puerto Vallarta. We met through a friend. You know me, I'm always excited to speak and practice my Portuguese. So this is who I am, and I've met you a couple of times now. We saw each other in Dubai, and you have a really interesting journey. I think since we spoke, I told you like I've never met anyone who's done the things that you've done. You have your own community. You're an entrepreneur. You come from this corporate world. So when I thought of you, and I've been thinking about inviting you for a couple of months, I thought it's interesting for you to share your journey. I think people can be inspired, and sometimes people need to feel identified in order to either take action or make a decision. So I think this is why I brought you to the podcast. So is there something I am missing? You're like a traveler, you're a speaker, you are a world traveler. You were born in Brazil, but I think you were a world citizen. Is there something else about you that I'm missing that I haven't shared?
I think I'm curious. I have a curious mind. I
Mhm.
I'm always trying to expand, always trying to learn, to grow. I definitely wear many hats in my career, my personal life, always trying to learn more. And yeah, I've done some things in my life. I've traveled, I lived abroad, different countries. I explored Asia a little bit, and I'm still in the journey to fulfill, let's say, all the desires that I have in my heart, and really trying to build things and just to have a positive impact with my life. Yeah.
Amazing. So you're one of the few Brazilians I know that, let's say, it's an ambassador of living abroad. I was actually part of your mentorship program last year, and then I applied to come to Dubai. It's okay, I didn't get accepted, but at the end, 1 year later, I'm here in different
Sure.
circumstances. But I love that in the program, I learned and I saw the impact that you're having in people trying to get a job abroad or studying abroad, because sometimes being in this side of the world, we have not say less opportunities than European countries and other countries, but like sometimes we don't have access to getting to know them. So I want to start by you telling the story in this stage of your life that you were working in the corporate world and you decided to change kind of uh, let's say career paths. So walk through us in that stage of your life. What were you doing, and then what happened for you to be and decided to go solo?
Okay. Now, just going back a little bit, yes, I'm from Brazil. I'm from the south of Brazil, Porto Alegre. I studied international relations, and since I'm very young, I was like, I want to be a diplomat. So this is why I actually started studying international relations. I was certain that, oh my God, my future is at UN. This is it. But then after I started university, I understood that I was actually a little bit more passionate about business, which was difficult for my identity because since I'm very young, I'm like, I'm gonna save the world. It's UN. And then I was like, oh, but I love marketing. I love, like international business, how to bring brands and how to adapt brands to different countries. And then Disney came into my life. This is very funny. I did 2 internships at Disney in Orlando, which is very business focused. I really learned about the client, about how to deliver, about operations, and I fell in love really about everything, which is again very business driven and maybe not so much like United Relations vibe. And then after that, I actually moved to Asia. I did 2 master's degree. I did a double degree program in South Korea and in China. So I did an MBA and I also did a master of economics. And after that, I studied the Chinese language a little bit. I actually applied to be part of a program here in Dubai that it's offered by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed. The he is the head of Dubai, right? The vice president of the UAE. And he has a program that he's the patron that he just invite around 25 to 30 young leaders around the world to come to Dubai to learn business by doing it. So he has a program to develop consultants. That's how it like he call it. And so I spent a year here in Dubai working for the government. I did two different projects, consulting projects. One for Expo 2020, which is a mega event that happened here. It's a mega event that happens every 5 years. It's one of the three mega events, how they call it, which is the Olympics, the World Cup, and the Expo. Invested billions, billions. They fully built an entire city here, was crazy, and I'm very, very happy to be part of that. I learned so much. And then I did a consulting project for the Department of Economic Development, focused on the future of work. And this is where really fell in love for futurism, the future of human capital. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to understand who I am, right? Professionally, okay, I know I like business. I know I like futurism. I know that I like projects. But at the same time, part of me was not very happy. Like, I don't know how to explain because I was 27 years old. I'm from the south of Brazil. I come from a humble family. I had two master's degree in my pocket. I spoke different languages. I lived in a hotel, a five-star hotel for a year here with the patronage of His Highness. So I was really on the top of the world. You know, my ego was very happy. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing well in life, you know. But
This
at the
is it,
same time,
right?
this is it. Yeah, I felt amazing. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, Anna's amazing." She's like, and I was like, "Oh, thank you." But at the same time, part of me, I felt hunger. This is how I don't know how to explain in a different way, but part of me, I just felt there is more to it. Is this it? Like my entire life, I kind of chased something, and then when I achieved it, I was like, "Oh, wait, I'm not happy." I didn't like the constraints of having to go to an office, you know, that having to, I don't know, there's so many constraints that I felt constrained. I felt I was not very, I was happy, don't get me wrong. I was learning so much. I'm very grateful, but I was still hungry. I wanted more. And actually, when we talk a little bit about marketing, for years, I had a YouTube channel. I use my Instagram every single day to help other people to do the things that I've done, work at Disney, go to China, go to South Korea, you know, even coming to Dubai. So it was actually some sort of a mentor, but I didn't have a program. I was just doing it because it comes from me. It's who I am. But I didn't know that I could transform that potentially into my career or that I could actually make money with that, which is crazy because I have like thousands of followers, people really talking to me every day, but I never consider on monetizing. But while I was in this program, while I was in Dubai, I kind of felt that I positioned myself in a way that, okay, now I have all these badges, right? I went abroad, I've done my master. I work for, you know, for the sheikh, let's say it like that. I work as a consultant. I have these skills. I'm working for the government. I'm doing projects. Maybe now I can position myself and I can start to believe that I can be a mentor for other people. So that's when like this idea of having like a mentorship program or to have like say an online business or like going a little bit to digital marketing started to really flourish inside of me. But at the same time, I was using a lot of my time for my career, my consulting career. But then life is really perfect because COVID happened, right? I was in Dubai. I was stuck here. They closed the airport for 3 months, so no one could leave. Like it's horrible, but if something happened, let's say to my family, there is nothing I could do. I'm stuck here, and that period of time was very difficult for everyone. I was very fortunate because again, I was in a hotel, stuck. It's not that bad, but for months, and you were alone, and there's pretty much no one in the city. You barely could see any cars. For me to go, let's say to the supermarket, I had to apply for like an online permit to going from point A to B. And if a police like stop me in the street, they will ask for it. And if I'm the wrong path, they can see the path on the street that I'm allowed to go. I'll be fine. So being stuck in a place that I started to work remotely, I was like, oh, I like that. That I don't have to go to an office anymore, that I have this freedom of staying home, just doing my own time a little bit. Like, really start to adapt on that. And then I understood, okay, what are my values? What are my interests? Which kind of life I want to build? So in that time, I really start to think, maybe not in a structured way that I'm able to do right now, but I really start to focus on life design. So which is the life that I want to build for myself? Which are the experiences that I want to have? And then I understood that the path that I was following on the consulting world, which is amazing. Our ego loves the idea of going to fancy hotels, of working in projects, is amazing. But I was like, okay, that does not fulfill me. I understand that because that's it. Like this hunger was about maybe fulfillment. Um, and then my contract ended. It's a 1 year contract. You cannot extend. It's like you're here for a year and then like you can do whatever you want. And then I was actually trying to go back to China. I lived there before. And I was actually in a relationship with someone in China. So it was really hard because China was very, very close, guy. There was no way to go back to China. I was even like hired. We talk about different just different companies. They wanted to hire me, but they cannot give me the visa because they were not giving visas. And I was in a long distance relationship. It was horrible. I really went to like they call it like this dark period of the soul. It was really like that for me because I was in the top of the world and then I went back to Brazil. I went back to live in my mom's house. I had no money. I was unemployed, trying to go back to China to an old boyfriend. But then life really taught me many lessons. So I think this change in career was not just like a rational process. It was an emotional process of me going through different things in my life that taught me who I am, what I want, and really how to let go the things that are not aligned to that. So I actually end up my relationship. So China stopped being a priority in my life. Because before, I had to be very honest with me. Do I want to go back to China? Because I lived in Shanghai for 2 years before that. Do I want to go back to China or do I want to go back to China because I think that I might have a future with someone that is in there? And then I was like, was I really happy in China? And then I thought, I was like, maybe not. Maybe not as much as I thought. And then I decided to let go. So I was unemployed for maybe 7 months. And then I was like, do I really want a job? So I let go of China, right? So for 7 months, just trying applying jobs in China, get the job, but I don't get the visa. All my everything goes in there. And then when I let go of China, I was like, okay, now I have the whole world that I can apply to. And then when I tried to type like a different CV, that is not maybe adapted China, I was like, I don't want a CV. And this is, you need to understand the mentality shift that it had to change, that had to occur inside of me, because I am the daughter of like civil servant. I don't have any entrepreneurs in my life. Not a single person in my family has their own business. Everyone
Yeah.
works for someone. And this was my entire life. So everything that I've done in my journey was to add things to my CV to become a better professional so I can position myself better in the market so better companies can hire me, so I can have better positions, so I can have better salaries. And this is completely different when you think about being an entrepreneur. You don't have a CV. You're on your own. So every result is about you, what you bring to the table, which is something that I loved. But it's scary because I don't have any base point. I didn't grow up with a parent that I don't know what entrepreneurship is, to be very honest. Yeah, so this has happened. I started to do my mentorship. I had digital products, and then things evolved. Now I actually own two different companies. I just set up a company here in the UAE, which is also marketing media focused. And I discovered myself as an entrepreneur, but I had to go through this journey of understanding that I really wanted something. And then I was
Hmm.
like, oh, this what I wanted is not actually something that I wanted. It's something that I started to believe that I should want for myself. But I have to go through this entire journey.
So Anna, I think like if you reflect now, you understand, right? Because this is why people say we connect the dots backwards, right? Not we can't really do it in the future, but it's a good exercise what you did to stop and think, what kind of life do you want? Because I don't think we do it that often. Because I'm pretty sure that in Brazil, as in Mexico, as in not another Latin American countries, we're told that we need to study and then we have to go to university and probably get married, buy a house, and buy a car, have kids, and retire at 65, right? So our generation, I think it's changing a little bit. For me, it happened when I was 20 year old and I went to Australia, and I remember my grandma saying like, "I've never been there," and I'm like 65 years old, and I went to Thailand. She's like, I was only like 55 when I went there. Like, it's weird, right? So it's amazing to change. And I just want to get back to something you said. You didn't have someone in your inner circle or family or social that was an entrepreneur, but that didn't stop you to say, I want to try this, right? Without a playbook, because I don't think there's a playbook on how to be a CEO, how to get the first clients, but it's a risk. I think at the end it can be lonely for a time. I think it's a decision, but it's good that you started now. uh, I can imagine that there was a lot of limitations that you overcame, right? Because it's not easy at the beginning, right? There's nobody telling you instructions on what to do. So I want to talk about what you prioritize at the beginning. You said like, "Hey, I need to make money," right? That's the first thing. What was the thing that you said? Okay, I have to set up this first. Was it like a website? Was it like still creating content? Charge for something?
You're gonna laugh. Maybe I really think I am a good example, but I don't think I am an example that follow maybe what other people say
It's
that
okay.
people should do. I still don't have a website, guys, believe it or not. This is funny. I actually met a friend here, and I started to explain him about my business, and he's like, "I check you online, and you don't have a website. How you have a company and you don't own a website?" And I'm like, "Oh, how to explain digital marketing for someone, right?" Sometimes things are not so obvious. So how I started was, I swear to God, I just decided to give the first step. It was my first cohort. I call my mentorship program. They have like different cohorts. I launch every 4 months, let's say, and it lasts like 3 months. The first cohort was very, very like minimum viable like you don't understand. It was, I didn't have a website. I didn't have anything. I just did an Instagram, a closed Instagram. I added people there. I charge almost nothing. I promise just 2 meetings. I end up like delivering 10 because I had an envision of something very small, but I was like, I can do more. Since you're here, let me just give you more. So I gave a lot, maybe too much in this first cohort. It was just like an Instagram that I just did live there. And it was so, I wouldn't say bad, but it was so like, I have no experience that one day I was like, let's do something. I was live on this closed Instagram with people. I was like, if you have a question, let's just do an Instagram, both of us. But I didn't think that people that follow that other person will be able to see this live. So suddenly in the live, I have many people that we don't know who it is. And we're like, what is happening? I'm like, oh, only my Instagram is closed and not the other one. So I had to learn all of those things like while I was doing it. But I was very fortunate. 30 people believed me. It was very cheap, but it was money that changed my life because I was like, oh, people are paying for this. And something that happens in my mentorship that is very funny is that people keep coming back. So just amazing feedback, and every single cohort I improve, I do something better. So the product is something that I'm still working on. I'm very proud of it. I think it's really good, but I can make it better. So it was literally a decision. I just said to people, hey guys, I'm going to do a live on my Instagram. I'll never forget that. I think like 200 people showed up, which is a lot. And I just did it. And oh my God, my speech, my selling speech was so bad that I said, guys, it will be something like $20. And while I was live, I said to people, guys, wait, $20, it's not enough. It will be 25. I swear to God, I did this live, but people just believed in me because it was just 2 meetings, it was nothing. It was just something that I needed to do. Because the thing is, like, the entrepreneurial path was not a decision for me. It was a result of me deciding to just be who I am. So it was me understanding who I am. I am an entrepreneur. the lifestyle. I like to be paid by my results, not by my time. So it was a result. It was not like a decision, oh, that might be good for my career, that is an opportunity. It was like who I am. And I was doing this for years. I just never charged before. So it was just me allowing myself to be who I am and just building, a business around it. It's something that I really like. Naval, he's a angel investor. Naval Ravikant, he said that a lot. Like, how can I build a business around who I am? Or better, how can I be paid to just be who I am? So this is kind of the mindset that I had.
It's a very interesting point of view when you say I want to be paid for my results, right? Because at the end, I took a course about this 3 years ago, and the guy was saying if we start changing our mindset about money, and like the more money, the more impact I can do, or the more people I can help. And like, what if I get paid for the amount of, let's say, the bigger the problem, the bigger the money, right? Or the bigger solution I have to get. So I thought that was very interesting. And now that you say that you were already doing it, but nobody was paying for you, it was a
I
great
was
way
not
to
charging.
see.
It didn't even occur to me to charge. It was crazy because I didn't have this mindset of making money or just being, oh, we can go later, but I had to change so many limiting beliefs to be able to charge people. Especially in digital marketing, we don't deliver a box to someone's house. It's not material. So I had to do so many therapy to understand the fact that my product, it's immaterial. Like, people cannot really touch it. And there is worth in that. And sometimes it's way more worth it than a box full of something. So yeah, I had to change a
It's
lot, work a lot on my mindset.
I want to add two things. The first one is authenticity. I think there's so many books and so many, I think it has been said a lot of times. But when it comes from authenticity, then people see who you are. So that's a way of being honest. And that's the way of, I don't know, I think you can just sense it. I think even when you see speakers, you say, like, this comes from authenticity. This comes from like a recognition standpoint. It's interesting, it's valid. But I think like people are attracted, if you can say it like that. And then the second thing I wanted to tell you is we come from a region with a lot of scarcity. Let's say, even though we're very close to the US, and I have friends that work a lot with the US, and for me, to start charging a little bit higher was very difficult. Even like doing podcast or consultancy, I was like $100, and then somebody was saying, "What are you doing? Like, this is $700, $600," and I was like, "Well, nobody told me." And it's so crazy because we feel bad for charging this, and then we meet these people saying like, "Well, this is how much is my time. This is." And for me it's crazy because it has taken me a lot of therapy sessions to understand it, and of course our relationship with money, because I can see it in like marketing agencies or even us as professionals. I work for a corporate company. Even to negotiate a salary, I always think, well, I'm Mexican, I'm not going to get paid as an American or as a European, right? We all have like these beliefs that we don't deserve to earn money, or like this is how, even like a age limiting, like I am 30, I'm not supposed to be making this. So I wanted to walk through the challenges. I'm just going to say one for me. Having that challenge, of course, it made me feel a little bit that I'm not enough. Like in my companies, I always felt that I have to ask, or like, let's say, like, not raise my voice when I have an idea. Now it's a little bit different, but I can imagine that you had challenges through the journey when you have this money, let's say, limiting beliefs. So tell us a little bit about what you learned.
I love that subject. The subject of my life because I work so much with that. First of all, I wrote here that I want to. There is a sentence that I carry with me that somebody said. It was actually a Brazilian guy that I follow that he talks about digital marketing. He says that truth sells. So when you tell the truth, you will sell.
This is
And I
amazing wisdom.
totally believe it works, guy. I know that a lot of people have this impulse of, let me understand what the market want and I will package and I will sell it. Yes, you can have results on that, but I have abnormal results with the my fun. Like, I don't have that many followers, but I have normal results because truth sells. People connect with me. Even sometimes I share a lot my difficulties or how hard it was for me. And sometimes people want to avoid a talk. They think that we should talk only about the wins, only, like how we overcome things.
Or
And
when
of
we're
course, but
happy.
yeah, but I like to talk about, like how I get there. And it was hardship. It was doing the work. It was showing up every day. It was not giving up. So truth sells. If I wanted to send a message, if you can carry that, that would be amazing. And I wrote here too while you're talking. A lot. Sometimes we put cap to our results. We mentally think this is that we put a limit to ourselves. And there's another sentence that I'm a person that carry different sentences with me. I like to think about like pockets of knowledge.
I love it.
Uh, yeah, one sentence is the limit is an illusion. I love that sentence. So sometimes you think about, oh, maybe I can be paid X. And I'm like, this X is you. It's based on nothing. And you might get that, but why not you X? Why not even X plus one, right? So when I think about numbers this day, I try not to limit myself. Although it's still work that I'm doing, but I wrote here limit on money. I want to tell a story. I was 27 years old. I was in Dubai, and I was starting to build a journey that I could make more money than my mom was doing. And my mom, she started working with 13 years old. And she had a rough life. And I was like, how can I, that I had an easier life than her, how can I make more money with 27 than my mom is doing now? And she's been working for, like 45 years or 43 years. It felt wrong. And part of me felt, and now I understand that, like, unconsciously, I wanted to honor her and honor the scarcity that she had in her life. Who am I to have an easy life and to be abundant in an easy way? Just being who I am, not having to go each day to work, maybe a job that I hate, but I need to make, meet in, just paying my bills and everything. So I had to really understand this process that I had internally of how I was capping myself when it comes with money. So I understand that part of me wanted to honor my family, my ancestrals. I did my DNA test. I know that I have blood because Brazil had a lot of slaves coming from Africa. So I know that my family past is very, very rough. I know that. So I understood that part of me, not consciously, of course, but I wanted to honor that by suffering, by not having enough, by, really having a hard time to getting money. And the other part was, of course, being a Latin woman. Sometimes we feel we're not enough. It's never enough. You can have 10 years experience. You're gonna, oh, maybe if I have 15, you know, uh, oh, I have a master's. Oh, yeah, but it's Stanford and it's not Harvard. Or if it's Harvard, it's not Stanford. Will never be enough because it's that's the thing. Like, I started to really work on myself for why am I worth it to be paid? Because money is normal. We use it for every day. It's normal. So I started to normalize money and not of putting something difficult or out there that I need to worth and then I can get it. No, it's normal. We paid money to eat, to pay our bills, to buy clothes. It's just the most normal thing ever. So I started, instead of me pushing myself to meet money here, I just started to low the meaning of money that could meet me. That is something normal. Everyone deserves money. Of course, there's a dynamics of how can you make more money. Of course, the more value you are able to deliver, the more you're going to be paid. No questions about that. But I started to normalize money. That is something that it's in me, that is part of me, it's part of my life. And I'm worth it because every day I'm working on myself to be better, to deliver more value. And of course, I'll get that as a result. So more like money as a consequence and not money as the end goal. So
Yeah.
while I'm doing that, I got more results.
That's a very interesting point of view because even there's a lot of people in the world that suffer with money or think that we have to spend it. And even I've read about the impact that some countries have when their salary is every 15 days rather than a month. it's
It's
different
crazy. I
spending
lived in the United
behaviors.
States. I know what you mean. I was paid weekly. And the scarcity mindset is crazy because you can suffer for 2 days. Even if you have $2 on your bank account, it's just 2 days. So life is all about spending rough days and then get money, high, low, high, low. It's crazy. It's really, really
It's
crazy.
for me, I only had, I want to say, maybe 6 months of my life like that, because in Brazil it was a monthly salary basis. I live in the last 7 years, I think the only time I was in university working was every 15 days, and it was a different even feeling, because
Crazy.
you felt the need to spend it. I like better like every month, but it definitely shows us a little bit of our behavior, and how we save, how we invest, and how we don't have to spend it all. Right at the end, we want to. I don't know. Like I've been in so many communities about it, and I've read a lot of comments of people saying like, I feel bad if I have money at the end of the month, and I was like, what? And it's crazy because it's not the only it's not few people. I think it's a global movement. But I want to talk a little bit about feedback, and I know this is a little bit, of course, this is a marketing podcast and we're going to talk about it. But you are very, let's say, like one-on-one with your community. I follow you, I see your content, and I always love that you have this day or several days of a week where you open your, let's say, you give your time for questions, right? I can imagine that you get a lot of feedback and ideas, I don't know, to build new products. So how does it work for you? Let's say what people say, what people need versus what you want to show, because I can imagine, I'm assuming, right, that there's like a, there's similarities and then differences. How do you work with that?
Okay. Well, I love feedback, first of all. I'm not the type of person that I don't need, they call it the sandwich feedback. I don't need that. Go straight to the point. I love it. This is something I learned from our common friend Larry. She's like, give me feedback. And I'm like, yes, let's do that. We do round. We're in dinner and we're just circle like, okay, feedback time. And I love it. So it really helps. I do feedback a lot with my digital products. I do blind feedbacks. I think it's very important. I do one-on-one, and I think I build the type of relationship that people, they're willing to help me because they see feedback are not like criticizing or more like how can I help her to get something better because they see the improvements that I do. So if somebody tells me, maybe it's not so great, I change it. So when they see that, they're eager to give me feedback. When it comes to feedback of new products, let's say, I take into account, I do have a page on my, it's in my planner actually, of ideas that people give me of different products. But in the end of the day, I'm just trying to become a more effective entrepreneur. So I don't want to have too many products out there because it's hard to make sure that the quality is good. I have a limited time. I have two companies now. So I just really trying to focus on have a just like have a key product and then like an upsell, a downsell and things like that. Um, but I just many ideas that people gave it to me that could be a new product. Sometimes I just do it, but I incorporate in my main product. So it's not something that I am eager to do a little bit of extra cash on the side. Yeah.
This is something interesting, because this is something I've talked about in the past, and I've asked, and you gave me the idea. But as an entrepreneur, I can imagine that you go to all these conferences and you invest on yourself, and there's so many shiny things that are available for you to do, but at the end you have to focus, right? How do you make yourself your focus, even though there's like 3 million things you can do, that you just say like, this is what I'm gonna do, because it's hard, right?
To be honest, it's not that hard because this sounds naive. And I know that I sound naive sometimes, but when the goal is not the money,
Mm,
then it's not shiny anymore.
okay.
So I know which type of impact I want. I know like the ways that I am comfortable of doing, that I've done it before and that it worked, that it didn't work. So I'm more focused on which kind of impact I want to have on people, what I'm good at, and how can I do it. So yes, like I love talking about money, right? I love it, but I like to talk about money, this type of mindset. I could maybe in the future talk about investment, but there are other people that can do it better than me. So I'm not
Okay.
focused on that. So I'm just trying to focus what I'm good at. Because in the moment that I focus what I'm really good at and I do it in a way that only I can do it, I have no competition. I
Mm,
have no competition. It's just crazy, but because the business is around me, no one can do what I do because I don't trying to do something that other people can do. So in the moment that I start to focus on other examples, I'm
mm,
just copying them and I'm gonna be like the B one, I'm not gonna
yeah.
be the main one. And I'm not
o-
interested in that.
Okay.
So I just I wouldn't say that I take the money out of the equation, but when I'm talking about the creative process, it's not something that I take into account because there's another sentence that I love. This is really good. It's from a movie and it's a movie from the 80s actually. I forgot the name of the movie, but Field of Dreams. It's a movie that I grew up watching with my mom. It's a very, not a lot of people know this movie. It's about baseball. And while I was here in Dubai, one day I was having like a meeting, and somebody said that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed really loved that movie because of one sentence. And that sentence, my mom and me, we talk about it all the time. That the sentence is, if you build, they will come. And I
Wow.
truly believe that. And if you look about Dubai, he actually built a lot of things before people
Yeah.
were here and people came. So it's more about this mindset of, if you build around you, with
Hmm.
the right goal, on the right way, delivering value, the right people will get to you. For me, this is how it works. Maybe it's not very strategy corporate, but the more I let go of these things and the more I focus, on the right things, the more results I have. Because I see a lot of people trying to mimicking and following just, formulas, and they don't get the same results than I do with a big, larger audience than I have. And I
Yeah.
ask myself why. And I go back to those sentences: truth sells, if you build, they will come.
Mm.
Those little things that I see the results. And in the end of the day, this is what I want. So if it works, I'll continue doing it.
Dubai has definitely had an impact on you and your business model and your mindset. I love it because for me it's still very new. I mean, these 2 weeks that I've been here, I've been learning about what has been accomplished the last 40 years, and it's crazy. It's very different than our regions and where we come from, and even
Totally.
the even though the people don't pay taxes, it still surprises me. So it's definitely
Yeah.
something we should
No income
learn.
taxes, true. Yeah.
Yeah. So Anna, this is what I love talking to people like you. That, let's say, this is not a very technical conversation about marketing. I'm not gonna ask you if you have funnels, if you have like this strategy for high ticket, because like there's that, right? It exists. There's an industry about that. But I think sometimes it's good to just be honest and let's say like, hey, I don't follow the rules because um, this is the type of things that work for me and for my community, and that's okay. Honestly, when I met you, I was like, I don't understand, this is what you do. It was, of course, it was new, and I've heard in Dubai here so many times that well, something that it's new, it can be a little bit uncomfortable, or it can be like a weird feeling. But then that's just every new thing that you come through. So it's been really interesting to get to know your journey. What I wanted to ask you is, do you have any advice for entrepreneurs that are building? I'm just gonna say it out there, but your business is really focused on community building, right? So even though I don't want to put labels, but it's a little bit closer to that. But what is your advice for people building a community?
Um, I think the best advice that I can give, first of all, to anyone that is creating any type of digital business or online courses or mentorship, I think the biggest thing that impacted on my business is the fact that I have the results, or I've been through, or I lived the transformation that I'm helping people to do it. So I think it really helps to connect with people because I've been through all the problems and all the insecurities and all the doubts that they are going through. So, like, I feel good of having a mentorship, of being a mentor and have digital products because I've done so much in my life. and I've been through all the ups and downs. So I think the first thing is just make sure that you lived the experience that you want to sell other people to live as well. Because the truth self, and you will be a good mentor or a good leader or a good, teacher. And that's the base, that's the fundamental. And when you have that, it's easy to build a community because you can connect to people because you lived what they're living and you can help them. So for me, my community, it's amazing. I have over, let's say, 250 people. Um, we have Instagram, WhatsApp group that is very active. I do networking sessions a lot with those people, and some of the sessions I'm not in because otherwise I am the center. So they are not there to network with me. They're not there to network among themselves. And that really helps a lot because they started to know each other. They start to become friends. If somebody puts in a group, hi, I have a legal question about this. Can anyone help me? There's definitely 10 lawyers there and people help. So it's just a community that people just are eager to help each other because somebody
Okay.
helped them before. Yeah. So it's just about connecting what is the main problem or what is the transformation, the process, and just being there for them, being active, just have an open channel to communication. I have that. I have in my mentorship, I have sessions that is just like questions. So I just open a Zoom call and I just there until the end. Sometimes it's 5 hours,
Hmm.
and people are there just sometimes just to watch other questions and see what's happening. So
Hmm.
just open the channels for people to have access to you, but also that they have access to each other. And you know, I never had any problem in my communities. People are very, nice, and because you are there for the transformation. They're interested, so there people are very aligned. I have great clients, but just have the channels open to you and among themselves, and the community will build.
Hmm.
Without you having to be there all the time.
It's like a pay it forward kind of thing. That's what I felt in the networking
Yeah,
sessions that I had. So it's a very, I think, the best feeling as a owner, right? Um, and Anna, the last thing I wanted to ask you, because I can't believe it's been almost 45 minutes, but um, as an entrepreneur and both as a professional too, you have to be okay, right? You have to be okay. I sometimes think that our results reflect what we how we are and how we're
for
feeling,
sure.
and we definitely have to be okay in order to be with someone or to work with someone or at least help people. So how do you, and this is of course a question about advice to other entrepreneurs, because we as and this is something that my family says is right, we have to serve others first, no, serve others, yes, instead of ourselves, right? It's like the story of the I think it went viral last year, the story of when we organize a party, we make sure that people eat first and people are comfortable, and then what about us, right? So how do we make sure that there's space for us? Do you have any advice, or what have you learned about that?
I actually follow. I have a different mindset. Yes, my whole life is about serving. If you see my socials, I almost every day like, how can I serve you? How can I help? And I just use my time, trying to help people with tools, messages, ideas. But I really believe on this idea, when you're in an airplane and they show that first you put the mask in yourself so you can help others. So the priority is for me to be good, to feel okay, because if I'm not aligned, if I don't feel good, if I don't feel confident, I really believe in energy, right? So the energy comes first, it arrives first. So if I'm not well, how can I help others? This is an illusion. Then it's not the truth, right? So I just try to respect my space if I'm not feeling that good. I just trying to align maybe my scheduling, whatever I have to do. But my focus, my top priority is my health. And that comes, of course, my mental and my emotional health. And then when I have this fundament, like this foundation right, then I am there to serve others. If not, then I try to be a bit more quiet because I don't think I'm really helping others. Then I pretend that I'm helping others, but I'm just trying to serve myself. like
Yeah.
being the good girl, the one that serves, that it's always there.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in that. Yeah. So
Mhm.
mask on me first,
Yeah.
always, and then I can serve others.
This is a good way of thinking because at the end, and this happens when we go to retreats or we have this online course or we have a mentorship program, it's great for a certain amount of time, but then months keep happening, right? And years happen, and then like life keeps happening. We forget. So it's good to make it a habit or give space for us. So this is a great advice because sometimes I see it even how people write or tell their stories, or even I've been interviewed in different startup opportunities, and they say like, I want to grow fast and this is the type of job that we're gonna stay up late and work on the weekends, and I'm just like, that's perfect for you, but this is not what I want. So
I
it's
mean,
it
maybe a moment in life that it's important, but just to make the message right and people understand, right? When you talk about serving others or helping others, it has to be about them.
yeah.
But in the
Yep.
moment that you're not good and you force yourself to do it, then I think it becomes about us and what type of person we want to be or what we think we should do. And when it
Yeah.
becomes about we or me, then it's not about the other anymore. But when you're
Mm-hmm.
good with yourself, when you're feeling aligned,
Mm-hmm.
then it's easy to give. It's
Yeah.
automatic and it's about the other because you're good, you don't need anything. But so I think it's important to keep in check, like why are you doing this? For what?
Okay.
For who? And then you can serve others. Yeah.
Anna, this has been an amazing conversation. I love that you can talk a little bit about your journey, this like behind the scenes of your journey. I really hope that people get inspired, or at least I love when conversations give you an idea that you couldn't have thought about it, and like you get this feeling of like, hey, I have this, I might try it. So I want to end this podcast episode asking you, if somebody wants to open a conversation with you or want to connect with you, how can they find you?
Of course. Mainly my Instagram, it's Ana Paula Poppi, Poppi. Definitely send me a message there. I also have an email, which is Anna at anapaulapoppi.com.br. You can find me there. And yeah, just send me a message and I'll be happy to connect.
Ana, thank you so much. A todos, muchísimas gracias por escuchar este episodio. Nos vemos la próxima semana. Espero que hayan disfrutado. La verdad, quería contar la historia desde un punto, vamos a decir, desde la perspectiva de un emprendimiento y qué hay detrás. Entonces, espero que les haya gustado al igual que yo y nos vemos la próxima semana. Thanks, Ana, and I hope to
Thank
see you again.
you. Of course.